Good afternoon and welcome to the Red Couch, live here at Electronica in Munich. My name is Michael Brunner, I'm the editor-in-chief of the E&E magazine. And during the whole trade show, we'll talk with important people from the electronics industry about topics that are moving the industry. And you can watch us live here at the trade show or via YouTube and our Facebook channel later on. And right now, I would like to welcome Christophe Tremlet, Security Segment Manager, EMEA Marketing at Maxim Integrated. And we will talk about security in the smart grid. So welcome, Mr. Tremlet.
Thank you for welcoming me here.
So security is a big issue, but what are the biggest weaknesses of the smart grids regarding security?
Okay, so yes, you're right when you say that security is a big issue and a big challenge for the smart grid, and because we definitely share this opinion. And I think one of the major challenges of security for the smart grid is that it is a very widely distributed infrastructure. And because it is widely distributed, there are multiple points where attacks can be applied. That's one of the key challenges, meaning that attacking the smart grid means that you can attack the meters, but you can also attack data concentrators, substations, servers, gateways. So as many endpoints and appliances you have on the grid, as many weakness points you have. And I have a very simple saying about this, is that if it is connected, it is at risk.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So and what kind of security threats are known to the smart grid today?
Okay, so there are multiple security threats known for the grid today, and I don't think we can go through all of them. But I will try to list a couple at least. So the first one was mentioned by my counterpart from TI. Actually, the first concern is probably privacy. At least if we think about the concerns for the user, for the household, is privacy. Okay, so you have a smart meter monitoring your power consumption. If someone managed to get access to the data to monitor your consumption, it is a big threat to you. First, because you don't want to disclose your private life, but you can imagine also that someone monitoring your power consumption sees that for 1 day or 3 days you've been out of home, and then maybe it's the right time to come into your home and steal your private property, right? So that's one threat, and probably the end user or the household is probably mainly concerned with this. Then we can think also about threats to the grid, to the infrastructure itself. One example is that if we think about a smart grid, it means that probably your utility, as mentioned before, can, for instance, shut down your water heater remotely. Can you imagine what would happen if there is a mafia or criminal organization that is shutting down 1 million water heaters at a time? That will lead to complete grid disruption because it will break all the regulation mechanisms that are in place. So now probably if you think about a utility will be more concerned about maintaining the grid working. And from their point of view, the biggest threat will be anything that could disrupt the grid.
Can you explain what happens when a smart meter is attacked?
Sure. Well, unfortunately, there are plenty of scenarios. So first, you can imagine an individual, opening the meter for the purpose of lowering his bill, right? So that will be one first kind of attack. So this person would open the meter, and of course, may try to cheat in different way. Maybe he can physically alter the metrology system. Just by disconnecting or reconnecting some wires. So that will be one kind of attack, but it will be a visible attack. If someone comes and inspects the smart meter, the attack is visible. Or there could be also more malicious stuff, and you can imagine someone, for instance, trying to replace the software from the smart meter with a fake software that will just divide the power consumption by 2. That would be an example. Or you can imagine someone inserting an electronic bug, recording the power consumption directly from the meter, and send it outside. So that will be some examples of attacking a smart meter.
Reading a little bit about what Maxim is saying about all this topic, I found one sentence: one line of defense is not enough. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, okay, so yeah, that's probably something that you can apply to a large number of situations, right? But if we come to, if we think about security, for instance, we were talking about tampering with a meter. So you may imagine that your first line of defense will be to detect the case opening. Okay, someone detects that the case is opened, and then you take an action. And it could be, for instance, send a warning message to your utility. So that will be one line of defense. Then you might think about an attacker who is a little bit more skilled, and then someone trying, as we mentioned before, to replace the software, or maybe to insert an electronic bug. And then second line of defense would be, for instance, detecting someone trying to drill into the PCB to connect its electronic bug to it. That will be your second line of defense. And maybe here, you think that it is becoming more serious. So maybe the action you will take will be one step further than only sending a message to the utility. And a third or ultimate line of defense could be to detect someone trying to tamper with the metrology IC itself. And in this case, if you think that you have cryptographic keys stored in your IC, you may just want to destroy the key just to make sure that the sensitive information is no longer accessible. So that would be an example of implementing 3 lines of defense.
Okay, after you've mentioned so many threats and made me a little bit nervous, it's time to tell me something that I can sleep a little better. What kind of solutions do you offer to make grids and meters safe, to protect them?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we're not only here to scare people. For sure, we are here definitely to provide solutions. So at Maxim, we have different kind of solutions to secure the grid. So historically, Maxim is a company who has been strong in the financial terminal. And we have been developing security products for more than 20 years, primarily for this segment. And we think that we can easily reuse the technology to make it applicable to the smart grid. So what we provide at Maxim, we provide security integrated circuits and software solutions that goes along with them to make sure that our customers are able to implement security in the grid. So we have typically 3 families of product. We have secure microcontrollers. We have what we call security managers, which are solutions to securely store keys. And we have what we call the secure authenticators. And these are more to authenticate goods or people. So all these 3 product lines form what we call the deep cover security ICs family. And also, today we are presenting on our booth our new solution, which is named Zeus, which is the integration of metrology and security on the same system on chip.
Okay.
So
maybe you can explain this a little bit more, a little bit in detail.
Yeah, no problem. Well, actually, we were talking about attacking a meter, and there are several needs when you want to secure the meter. First, you want the meter to run only certified and genuine software, and it is even a requirement for certain markets. You need to be able to certify that the software, the metrology software running on your smart meter is genuine. So this latest Zeus system on chip has implements a secure boot, meaning that we can check that the software has been properly digitally signed and that it is genuine. Also, in this same Zeus circuit, we have cryptographic engine. So those cryptographic engine can be used to encrypt messages or to generate a digital signature. For instance, you want to report the power consumption. You want to make sure that it comes from the right meter. So you digitally sign the content and you send it over to the utility. And digital signature is not that easy to implement. And this Zeus system on chip has both the hardware and the software to implement digital signature. And last, because we want for our customers the highest level of security, we implement tamper detection, meaning that keys which are stored in the SoC can be destroyed if customers decide to do so, of course, can be destroyed upon tamper detection.
One important aspect for the smart grid, standards. Can standards help in terms of security? Are they necessary to make it easier to keep it safe?
Yes, definitely. And I believe it's not only about making things more secure. I think also standards bring the benefits that it's a mutual agreement between all stakeholders in the grid. Consumers, utilities, service providers, and equipment manufacturers. And this is what I think is nice about standards. Standards set the bar in terms of level of security, meaning that there are not many alternatives. Either you are above the bar or you are below, right? And I think it is great because you get a metric of your security, you got common agreement, and a common reference for all stakeholders. So of course, the most famous example is probably here in Germany, where the BSI, your Federal Office of Security, has issued a protection profile for the home gateways. So you can make sure that there is a minimum level of security that is reached by the appliance.
So hackers that attack smart meters, smart grids, improve their skills, they find new ways to attack. Is there any way to be one step ahead of them in terms of technology?
Yes, definitely. What we do, well, the thing is that the threats and the answers that we provide are not unique to the smart grid industry. As I said before, we have developed technology for financial terminals that we can now apply to the smart grid. And therefore, we are constantly monitoring new attacks. And not only from the smart grid, but from all communities working on the security. And actually, this has been a great benefit for the industry for the last years, is that now people gather. In the past, security used to happen through obscurity. Nobody would talk about it. You wouldn't say anything about security. It's just something that would happen. But now we have research labs working about security. There are conferences, there are publications. So we constantly monitor those events. We attend them, of course. We contribute as well. And so we see all the trends. And then, of course, we are always, when we design a new product, we are always thinking forward about present and future attacks. Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was the Red Talk about security in the smart grid, live here from the Electronica trade show. I would like to thank Christophe Tremlet from Maxim Integrated for joining us in this interview, and I'd like to thank everybody of you for watching and listening. If you are interested, you can find this interview and all the other interviews we are doing here at Electronica on the Publish Industry YouTube channel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.